you know what time it is. It is Safety Matters time on Fire Service TV. This is where we bring you all the gist, all the little gist about your safety. Our duty here is to make you safe, keep you safe all the time, regardless of where you find yourself. This morning, we are here again in the studios of the Ghana National Fire Service, bringing you Safety Matters. I hope by now you are calling a friend to come and sit down, or you are telling him or her that wherever you are, please run to your phone and tune in to GNFS Official on Facebook and all our other social media platforms to watch this program, because it's very, very important for your existence, for your business, and for everything that concerns you. I am ADO1 Joan Ajay. Today we are here in the studios of the Ghana National Fire Service. Very, very important guest, and we are about to treat a very important and interesting topic, which you don't want to miss. Last week, our officers have been doing some amazing job. I'm sure by now you heard about the Theobodom fire outbreak and how our officers moved in quickly with all the arsenals that we've got at our disposal to make sure that the fire did not cause more damage than it did. I always say that it could have been worse, honestly. If you leave fire outbreaks to burn, they will burn and never stop. So don't let us think that fires are able to control themselves. Fires are able to be controlled by fire officers, and that's just what our officers in Tema have done. And so this morning we are saying kudos to them, kudos to our gallant men, to the Tema Regional Commander, and everybody who played a role in making sure that we're able to safeguard lives and property. We didn't lose any life in that fire. It only means that somebody has sacrificed something, and that must be a firefighter. We'll go on this quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We'll stay.
I came across power safety technology. So I introduced that into our residents, who are more than 4,000. And over the period, they have testified how power safety technology have saved them when the need arises.
Power safety. Safety is our hallmark.
Ago Ghana, Ago Omambapa. I am a proud and trained firefighter, trained to save lives and properties. At the end of the year, at the Memuni ni metri da rain. At the end of the year, na mabedani ti Memuni tanfui. She, ubieja pade na esie no. Ubieja pade ni jademu no. Na mi kodumu no a ototo buobo mi. Mi kodumu no a udidi matemi. Mi nyamense. Mada funfon senwu nti ensi demrifa. Debi enye sane etete miye. Asede ne se mɛbɔ w'agyapadeɛ ne wo nkwa ho ban ɛde afiri ogya hyehyeɛ ho. Nea mehia firi wo nkyɛn ne wo mmoa ɛne w'akokoduro a wode bɛgyina m'akyi abere a medi dwuma ɛde agye akra nkwa. Yes, when everybody is running away from the fire, I repeat, we face it. So stop harassing the firefighter whilst he performs his core duty. Unyaneme, mesumi nyane wo. Uhia odum jadwuma eni no, odum jadwuma eni no so hia wo. BBC, na wonte ase a, eya penchichiremu. Emfa mmra no enhye wo nsem. Mpanifo se, wonsom, oni nipa. God bless our homeland Ghana. God bless Ghana National Fire Service. God bless the chief officer. And God bless the firefighter. Fire, safety. Uja, where is it? The bravest, we don't take cover. The rest.
Welcome back. It's still Safety Matters on Fire Service TV. Today is Tuesday, so you should know that this is the place to be. This morning, we are on your screens again to discuss a very, very important topic, a topic that a lot of us have not been able to place properly. And so we thought it wise to bring you this topic so that we can gain the necessary understanding of the things that we have been teaching. You know, this is necessary for you to know that you are on the right track or you need some reinforcement. And so this morning with me here, let me introduce my guests to you and then I'll introduce the topic for discussion. With me here this morning is Deputy Chief Fire Officer Retired Bame Pating. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're looking good.
You too.
I like your shirt.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, say, give me vim. I say I like your shirt.
I said thank you very much.
Now, next to Deputy Kwating is SO Michael Walter Okine, SO1. He is an officer in the Public Relations Department. He's here with us this morning. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, madam.
So, our viewers, today we are here to discuss with you the difference between fire prevention and fire protection. We are discussing the difference between fire prevention and fire protection. I'm sure, having introduced this topic, you are now asking yourself, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. No, they are not the same. There may be some similarities, but they are not the same. So this morning, we are fortunate to have these gentlemen with us in the studio to clear our minds about these two very important subjects, which we need in our homes, in our offices, and wherever we find themselves. Now, sir, let me come to you first. Sir, you know, we have heard fire prevention, fire protection. Most at times, what we do is that we think that, there are words that prevention and protection are words that we can use interchangeably. Interchangeably, but being a fire officer, I have learned that there's some difference between these two words, which we want our viewers to have a benefit of. So, say, what will be the difference between fire prevention and fire protection? Or let's start this way. If we say fire prevention, what do we mean?
Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers. I think you use the right word by saying they are used interchangeably. People think fire prevention and fire protection are the same, but they are two distinct. They have differences. When we talk about fire prevention, just let's look at the word prevention itself. It means you're doing everything possible to prevent the occurrence of fire. It does not mean that you put a barrier to stop the fire, but you have to put in measures, things that will not let the fire happen. Now, we are quite sure of 3 items that bring fire together.
Yes.
oxygen, fuel, and what again? Heat.
Heat. And that forms the fire triangle.
So all you're trying to do, that you put in measures that these three things will not come together to start the fire.
That's fire prevention.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're preventing fire by making sure these three components of the triangle will not come. So how would you do that? You have to go into your place and identify those things that will bring these three things coming together. So you do what we call risk assessment of the environment,
which we have treated on this show.
Yes.
So we are bringing memories.
So when you do the risk assessment, then you identify the hazards. These are the hazards that are there, and hazards, when it gets out, will lead into risk for you. That will cause trouble. Anything that has a potential danger of causing fire or causing damage or letting life loose becomes a hazard. Okay. So you have to identify all these hazards. Now that you have seen that, then the next step is to how do you reduce these hazards from?
Okay.
Yes. So if you think, then last week or last week we did about housekeeping.
Yes.
If you are keeping too much rubbish in your house, you're keeping combustible materials anyhow and those things, then it means you have to separate and remove them from them. So you're reducing the chances of fire occurring.
So these rubbish and things we keep,
you keep
or
them,
if you don't do proper housekeeping hazards,
yes,
those are hazardous.
So you are preventing. All those activities are means of preventing the fire occurring.
Okay.
And then when you have reduced this kind of risk, then that is where you begin to think about how do I mitigate if the fire should happen? Or how do I get people to understand what I am telling them? So you go into education. So you have to educate that don't put this here, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. These are all preventive. They are not protection.
Okay.
So anything that will let fire occur, spread or make the basis of fire taking place, you put all and it becomes 0 point. Then that one you have done prevention. And most of them is education. That's the way you can get the people to understand. These are simple terms for you to understand what prevention
is about.
Yes, like in the hospital parlance, they will say prevention is better than what?
Cure.
Yes. What do they mean? Hygiene. Keep your environment clean, keep your hands washed, do this, do that, so that you don't get the illness that associates with it or sickness that comes with it. And that is the same principle that is applied in the fire industry.
Fire prevention.
Okay.
Very well. Thank you very much for that education. Now, viewers, we have been talking about the difference between fire prevention and fire protection. Now, Deputy Retired has just put it beautifully. Now, we have been taught to learn that fire prevention is by way of making sure that the fire does not happen at all. Just as the normal prevention we know, we are preventing something from happening. We don't want the thing to happen, and so we take certain actions, and we do not take certain actions in order to make sure that the fires do not happen. So if you have been wondering what fire prevention is, this is fire prevention. Now I'll quickly go to S.O. Walter and then ask him, then what is fire protection?
It's a very big question. These are measures put in place by way of equipments or gadgets that will help forestall the fires that happens. Some of these safety gadgets are probably early detection and warning systems, and then suppression systems. Just like my big man said, he talked about identifying what will serve as a potential hazard. Sometimes when we have these hazards, there are no way we can remove them, like he said. But rather would have to find means by which we can put up measures that can help suppress the system if those fires should happen. So even in the Safety Act that was passed, what is it, LI 2249? That is the Home Fire Safety. It talked about things like early detection systems in every household. and then firefighting equipment like fire extinguishers.
Okay. Yes. So the early detection systems, please remind us again. We know you have taught us, but please remind us again. What are we talking about?
We are talking about things like smoke detectors, gas detectors,
heat detectors.
Heat detectors, yes. What do we call it? Beam detectors, and so on and so forth. These are systems that are designed that if there should be fire, you know, every fire starts very small, and there's smoke normally associated with those fires. So these are gadgets that are installed that would help check the fires from the early stages. Okay. Some having suppression systems, when they detect, they automatically douse those ones, like the sprinkler systems we have, and then other ones. So when we are talking about protection system or fire protection, these are tools that we normally employ into our homes, our offices, and then wherever we find ourselves. These are measures that are put in place that will help check the fires at the initial stages, and also suppress them. Those that do not have the suppression systems will draw your attention. You reach out for the nearest fire extinguisher, and then you can quickly douse those ones. So these are gadgets that we employ in our homes, houses, offices, and then wherever we find ourselves.
We'll go into some of these gadgets and other matters concerning that later. But let me just tell my viewers that they are live on Fire Service TV, and this is Safety Matters. When we say Safety Matters, you respond your safety matters. We are happy that you have joined us today as well. We are not doing anything else but to make sure that you are safe. Your household, your workplace, your property, everything that you're toiling for today will not be consumed by fire. We have had far too many of such examples for you to still remain adamant and think that, oh, fires are not coming for me. They are far away from me. Every day we see them. You know, let me just, in fast we say, I thief tell you. Let me thief tell you that it is not every fire outbreak that you hear about. As a matter of fact, there are a lot more fire outbreaks that you are hearing about. Fire service is doing its best to bring down these fire outbreaks, but we are recording them day in, day out. Why are we doing so? It's because we don't know, either we don't know about some of these things, which we are making sure that on Safety Matters, we are making you know these things, or we remain adamant and we think that these things are very far from us, and so they don't concern us. But we have witnessed even fire outbreaks happening in somebody else's house, and it spreads to your house. It started in somebody's house, but it can spread to your house. So it's even beyond listening for yourself. Sometimes you also have to listen for someone and take certain actions so that you can protect your property. It is Safety Matters. You're live on Fire Service TV. Please do join us on all our social media platforms, and do call a friend to also join you in order to watch this show. In case you miss it, you can always go back and watch the subsequent ones and today's own. You are welcome, and we are happy to have you here. Deputy, kindly add up to the fire protection for us.
Thank you. The fire protection, as he rightly said, it means that you put in place that if the fire should happen, after all the prevention and safety measures that you have put in place, housekeeping and education, and the fire should happen, what are the means by which you can protect life and property? So there's always a level which we call life safety protection and property protection.
Life safety protection and property
safety protection.
Property safety protection.
Now, there's two other issues that we need to make it right. We have what we call active fire protection systems. Then we have passive fire protection systems.
Active and passive.
The active are those that you put in place. The thing happens and you use them. And they are ranging from fire extinguishers, sprinklers, and any other fixed material or things that you put in.
Okay.
Yes. That is why sometimes people, it's just a joke, but people will say they try the fire service approach because it's an active You see, you move in when the action has come.
Okay.
So that is, they use it. Then the other one is the detection and warning system. They are also active.
Okay.
It picks the smoke or heat or whatever it is and activates to warn people in the building.
Okay.
Life safety is at risk. So please get out. If you have a furniture, TV, and alarm sounds, it has nothing to do with that. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So that one we took about life safety. So you consider the number of people or the kind of people who believe in that building or use the building. Then you see, okay, and then I need first warning one is the detection and warning systems.
Okay.
That will take care. Before when they are around, then you go and touch the active one, which is the detection. If it's automatic sprinkler, it will pick the alarm and discharge.
Okay.
But the extinguisher, somebody must be there to use it.
Operate it.
If extinguisher is standing and there's nobody, it's useless. Somebody must operate it.
Okay.
But the sprinkler, automatic sprinkler systems, as well as total suppression systems, they are the ones that will take care of it. So that is what we call the active.
The active
there are
ones.
more to it than
But
this.
an extinguisher is also an active.
The extinguisher is an
fire.
active
Okay.
because it takes the action
Okay.
when somebody is there.
Very well.
But sprinkler is active on itself, self-actuation, automatic. It does the job by itself.
Okay.
The other one, suppressions in the like air condition, what do you call it? Those ones in the IT rooms and those things are suppression systems. They work by itself. It detects and then extinguish.
Okay. By discharging their content to
Yes.
douse whatever situation or to control whatever situation there may
Yes.
be, especially when there's a
But the
fire.
extinguisher will not detect. It has to be used.
Okay.
But to solve the problem, somebody must be there
Okay.
to do the job. Then the passive one are those ones that they do not start the fire, but they also help to spread, to keep the spread of fire.
Okay.
So, for instance, you have a fire door. It's serving a purpose. It's a protection system,
Okay.
but it will not help fire to spread from one area to
To
the
the
other.
other.
I get it.
They are quiet. They don't take any action. They are there
They
like
are there,
that.
but they are
That's why they
servants.
say they are passive.
So unless you must understand this simple thing before you know what kind of fire protection system you're looking for. For instance,
Okay.
we have what we call paints and intumescent paints. There are chemicals that are put on, and then some things are put on the fire door, like fire smoke brushes. They are all components which do not put the fire off, but then they stop fire from spreading. And they also help to contain the fire within a certain environment without moving further. In the same way, you have signage. Signs on the corridor will not fight the fire, but they will tell you this is the direction you have to move.
Okay, so the exit directional signs,
Signs
they are
passive.
passive.
They don't put
Okay.
fire out, but they give you information because of their reflect. You will see, what do you call it, this thing, emergency lights. Doesn't fight fire, but then they will tell you what to do so you can escape. That's why I was saying that you're looking at life protection and property protection. The life protection is how is the person going to get out of the building quick. The detector won't do that. But then the directional signs and the
And
fire
all these
door,
general fire notices, they are all passive.
they are passive.
That is not to say, though, that they are not important.
They are very important. They are all part of the protection systems that we have.
I just have to make
they
that
are
point.
not. They are not in general preventive.
But they help us.
But they are helping you to provide information that fire is around. Put it off. Or fire has come. Please run for your safety. Are you getting me? So
Yes,
it is more of action oriented when the fire happens. That's why I was trying to make it simple by saying some of them are active and some are also passive. But they are all fire
protection. Fire
systems.
protection.
So you get it. So that is how protection. So as he said, it's right. For instance, if you have a fire protection plan or a policy, then there should be somebody, maybe you appoint a fire warden. You get what I'm saying? The fire warden will know that. He will tell you if there's a fire, you raise the alarm. What do you do? After raising the alarm, you come and then call the fire service. They are all put on the general fire notice. Raise the alarm, call fire service, evacuate the building, and then attempt to put the fire off if you can. They are not actions, I get it, but they give you instructions. But they are all part of passive fire protection system.
Very well, very well. Well explained.
Then you have people who will also help the disabled. Fire has happened. So they are all put in the fire policy plan. That is the prevention methods we have. This is the protection measures that you have, and who does, and those things. They are all, so when you have a fire policy plan, it's a passive system, but the content tells you what to do in case of fire. The policy will not go and fight the fire. So you put them under passive fire protection systems.
My viewers, today has been one of the most fortunate days of our lives. We are getting these explanations to these terms that we have heard. And we almost all the time, just use them intermittently. This is this, this is that. But today we are getting the explanation that fire prevention is about making sure that the fires do not happen. How about fire protection? It's about making sure that when the fires start, immediately they start, there's something there to mitigate the progress, so that the fire does not progress from its initial stage to other stages in order to cause havoc in your building or wherever you find yourself. That line has been drawn today. So Walter, let me come to you. I get the sense, or I guess the idea that the fire prevention really has to do with the human being. That's the human part of this whole thing that we are doing, because the other one seem to be helped by gadgets and other things, so that without our presence, these gadgets are able to, once you fix them in your premises, in your house, wherever you find yourself, these gadgets, some of them, not all of them do, because I must take out the extinguisher, which you would have to operate by yourself. Some of these gadgets, is that so?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yes, so what do we have to do as people in order to prevent
so when
these
you
fires?
look at the,
we want more fire safety education.
When you look at all the measures my boss talked about, we add one aspect with it. We say what? Coupled by good practices. By who? By the individual.
Okay.
So when you look at the definition, there is the portion that says coupled by what? Your good practices. Because if you have all these things in place and you, the human being, do not do the right thing, then the fires will definitely occur. What are some of the things? People who smoke in their rooms, people who cook. If you do not put yourself in check when you are doing all these things, then indeed those fires will continuously come. But where you as the individual or you as the owner of the property, you make sure that all things are put in place, all things are checked and placed in their proper positions, then because of that good practices that you add to the measures and then whatever you have in place will quickly help forestall the fires from occurring.
Very well. Very well. Well explained. We have been talking about the difference between fire prevention and fire protection, and so far, if you have been watching us, you will see the clear distinction. One thing stands out though, that for one particular one, you really have to put in your human effort. Your money can't do it for you. Money can't do it for you. When we talk about fire prevention, it is what you do, the actions that you take as a human being in your house or wherever you find yourself, adhering to the safety messages that we put out on this TV, on our social media platforms and other places is very key to preventing fires. The program is getting interesting, but we need to go for this break. We'll be right back with more. Do stay with us.
I came across power safety technology. So I introduced that into our residents, who are more than 4,000. And over the period, they have testified how power safety technology have saved them when the need arises.
Power safety. Safety is our hallmark.
Yeah, welcome back, our cherished viewers. Do join us on Facebook and all other social media platforms with your questions and comments on this very important topic. We are discussing fire prevention and fire protection. And so far, we have learned that fire prevention is about making sure that the fires do not happen at all. However, fire protection has to do with putting certain gadgets and equipment in place to make sure that when the fire starts, immediately they start, these gadgets are able to help us retard the growth of these fires so that we don't see the kind of havoc we are seeing around us today, these days. A few people have joined us with their comments, and we want to attempt to read them out to you. So, well, a number of you are asking of the recruitment and the feedbacks. Yes, you will be updated in due course about that. But this morning we are talking about your safety. If you want to join the Ghana National Fire Service, you should take some interest in these things that we are teaching, even before you join. Very, very important. So please, don't only be thinking about the recruitment. It's very also important, though. I must say that recruitment, jobs, very important. But please, do join us with your comments. We are discussing fire protection and fire prevention, the differences, the similarities, and how it will benefit you. So please join us with these comments so that we can get them addressed for you. Deputy, please, let's talk about, we have spoken about the two. They seem to be, like you said, they are very distinct items or topics. But let me ask you, so does it mean that in my house or in my office, in my workplace, I will need one of these two? Or how is it like? How does it work for individual dwellings? Who needs fire protection? Who needs fire prevention?
This is a devil's question, but all the same.
Oh, sir.
we can't do one and leave the other.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
That is why we have laws that tells you that install this and so in your house against fire. But you agree with me that fire prevention is less expensive as compared to fire protection.
Oh, costs.
Yes, costs involved. And then in usual case, I gave as an example I gave earlier, like the medical one, where they will tell you to keep hygiene, sweep your environment, do constant cleaning, do this. Those ones you can do it at less cost as compared to go to medical checkup and pay bills for hospitals, do diagnostic, do this, that, and so it's expensive. So you realize that to be on a safer and cost effectiveness, prevention will be better because that is within your control. You are in your own house. Don't keep things here. Don't overload your sockets. So many things. It's an information for you to stay safe so a fire will not happen. When you do that, you are reducing it, so it becomes practicable and less expensive.
So let me ask the question this way.
And then,
okay, let me chip in this before you continue. I know that you have a lot of reports to give us, but let me find out, say, can I only practice fire prevention and not need fire protection?
It's a dicey, depends, because after you have done your risk assessment, for instance, I live in my village where I don't have electricity in my room. I don't use light.
Okay.
I get him. I don't cook in my room. I don't smoke in my room. I don't do anything. It's just a room that I have a bed and I lie on it. Do I need a detector or an extinguisher in my room?
No, you don't.
So who is introducing the risk?
Okay.
So the risk, that's why I say you're doing risk assessment to see the risk that are going to confront you. And out of that, you decide that this is what I need to protect. I get him. I cannot keep. Prevention will help you do to a certain level, but it's likely to get out.
There again, depending on your risk in that environment.
Yes, you have created it. You have the more you are bringing the risk, you have to protect it with another thing. So it should happen. Okay. Then you take care of it. I hope you understand.
I understand you, sir. Please continue.
You do your assessment and see, do I need it or you don't need it? So looking at your costs and the situation that you find yourself in, there's no way you say, I will do only prevention and leave protection. You have a factory.
Okay.
You're using heaters. You're having a production line that involves a lot of chemicals and other things that then you said, I've kept prevention. I don't expect fire to happen. That is one thing.
Okay.
There's something we call the act of God, force majeure. A disaster can come, earthquake can come, something will happen, and then the whole place will turn, the environment will turn to something else. Somebody can decide to cause trouble in his house, and the fire can spread into your house.
Exactly.
So, like what we say, who's in tree? Who's will be about you say, share now.
This one, I got it right.
so you see how, so you look at fire situation based on your environment and your setting. That will say whether you need a protection equipment to be there or not. But human behavior changes. That is why we say when you have done the prevention, which is less cost, put the protection in place. So if it should happen, you do it. Because if you have to go and buy an extinguisher for about 400 or 300 cedis, you have to buy a smoke detector for about 150 or 120 Ghana cedis to install in your room, and you don't have that money, even though it's going to save you, and the fire should happen, and you are not able to detect, and you die out of it. Who caused the death? Your death. I hope we understand.
Yes, sir.
You have created the scene that is bringing fire. You say, I won't buy a extinguisher. Yes. You go and buy a car of maybe about so many $1,000. And you say, I won't buy a extinguisher.
It's surprising, sir.
As
for the car,
because every morning I'll check the oil level.
Sir, it surprises me.
In fact, personally, I have used.
That is how we think.
When you are driving, you sometimes have to park your car, remove your extinguisher,
and go and put somebody's one off.
And then at the end of the day, they say, "Oh, thank you.
Thank you."
Tomorrow,
as if they were going to turn on a new leaf.
Yes. No. So you see how sometimes in your own house, somebody's house is burning. Over the weekend, that was Sunday after church. You know, I have my house. I don't have a wall because I'm taking that from. It's my personal listing.
Okay.
Out of my travels outside, I never saw walls.
Okay.
I never saw a wall. Okay. So, but I don't want people to intrude. They have fences and hedges. So I have put a wire around so you cannot intrude. My neighbor also has not got a wall. He has a mango tree and the mango leaves fall. Sometimes the branches come into my place and he decides to cut it so it doesn't come. So the branches got dried. He started to burn them. On Sunday, I was in the house. So I was observing I had to go there because the wires, this kind of wires have this green cover. So it was burning my wires.
Oh.
So I went in and told him that next time when he wants to do this, he should push
a bit away from
the place. So if I was not in the house and the leaves, I've carried it, and I was not keeping proper housekeeping, it will come into my house.
See, this is what we talk about. This is what we talk about.
So at one point, if it was going to get worse, I was going to bring my extinguisher to support it. I didn't plan for that fire, but
the person who was doing it did not have an extinguisher.
So despite all the preventive, keeping our cars neat, our bath garages and all these things, and we don't have a fire extinguisher, what is the use when it gets? Well, the moment the fire starts, just to finish it.
Some
you have to combine it.
Some even have them, and then they keep them in the storeroom.
Yes.
So where you place it is also very important.
So we know that is why we and my viewers sometimes we fall foul to this. That's why we are doing this education for us this morning to know that fire prevention is a day-to-day thing. It's by the minute. It's not something that you do once in a while. And once you think that it is important for me to add one more gadget, it is important for me to improve, it is important for me to live comfortably, know that these comfortable life situations also come with responsibilities. And that's what we are discussing today. We are discussing fire prevention and fire protection. So far, you have learned on the show that fire prevention is a bit less expensive. It's less expensive than fire protection. However, you can't say that let me do one and leave the other. It has become very clear because some of the risk factors that we may have in our houses, we can't do anything about it than make sure that whenever these risks are getting out of hand, there must be something beyond the human efforts to make sure that we are safe in our environment. So you are at the right place. You are not lost at all. You're on Fire Service TV, and this is Safety Matters. I am ADO Joanna-J. I'm in the studio with Deputy Chief Officer Retired Kwame Kwarteng and SO1 Michael Walter Okang, and they are serving us with some interesting fire safety messages. You can also join us with your comments wherever you find yourself and be part of this show. Please share for the benefit of other people. It's very important. We are discussing fire protection, the difference between fire prevention and fire protection. Sir, S.O. Walter, I'm thinking that perhaps we don't take these things very seriously because we may not know the benefits. What comes to us in our discussions, we have enumerated some of them, but please, can you help us with more? What are some of the benefits that we are likely to get, the end benefits? Because you see, sometimes we think about the money too much, how much money we used to buy these things. But like you said, if somebody would buy a car for about 100,000 cedis and will fail to buy an extinguisher for less than 1,000 cedis, to protect that car. Where is the problem? Why?
If you say where is the problem, then I would say it is lack of the knowledge, lack of human knowledge. Because one of the things we are doing is to educate the people to come to the understanding of the benefits that they derive from good fire safety practices and measures put in place. So the first thing that comes to mind is that you've been able to build a very good, a nice house. This is at an expense. If you can afford to build the house, they can't afford to keep good fire safety measures in your house. Because when we talk about the prevention, we are talking about what? Poor housekeeping and other things. Yes. So if you go to your kitchen, even if the fire is not there, and you have your kitchen soiled with cooking oil and other things, ask yourself, even if you should sleep and fall down, what happens? You have to be taken to the hospital. That will come at what? Another expense. People become maimed when there is a fire outbreak. Yes. If they are listening to us, there are people dying. we record death every now and then. These are as a result of what? Fires. So if you have to lose your life, just like my boss talked about earlier on, just because A or B wasn't put in place, and that is a challenge to you. You also talked about vehicles. And you see what happens is when a vehicle is burning, the gases that even comes out of it, somebody inhaling it, is another toxic fumes that is also capable of causing sickness
please
to people and the
pause for a
environment.
minute for me. Let me announce the phone lines for our viewers to join us, because this topic, it's very, I want to know, why would somebody buy an expensive car and fail to buy an extinguisher, which is sometimes not even 1% of the cost of the car to protect it? If you have any answers to this question that I'm posing, kindly join us on 050-960-8744, 050-960-8744. Now, the question again is that, why would somebody buy a very expensive car and would fail to buy an extinguisher, which is not even 1%, maybe not 0.1% of the cost of the car to protect the car? If you can attempt some answers, I will be very, very happy. Sir, continue for me.
So, like I'm saying, life is at stake. Life is at stake. The sad aspect is when you don't die, but you get maimed, and you have to be bedridden for the rest of your life. What have you done? But if you are able to keep good housekeeping, good preventive measures, coupled with protection measures, then we prevent all of this from happening. At the end of the day, it is the environment that suffers, because when those emissions comes out, we inhale them. Your money goes, just as my boss also talked about, going to the hospital, getting to pay all those things. Even if you can afford it, what becomes of your life? You would have to live with some of these scars and other things for the rest of your life. Hence the good reason why we should all practice good fire safety measures and then protection.
Especially when we are being told that fire prevention does not cost anything
It
really.
That one is with
it
you.
only costs a bit more of your attention.
Yes, attention. And apart from that, you don't pay anything. You don't pay anybody anything. What we are saying is pack your things properly. Make sure everything is in place. You've tidied up your place. This even goes when a friend of yours comes to your house and sees how you've been able to carry out things such methodologically within your environment. It's a plus.
It's a plus.
Yes.
It doesn't take anything really,
assuming you need to go a woman, and then this woman comes to your house and then comes to find out that your entire environment is in a mess.
She won't come
That lady won't come again.
So it's a win-win situation for you.
It's a win-win situation.
You don't lose anything.
You don't.
He's made a point very clear.
Yeah.
There's always this saying, penny wise,
Pound foolish.
pound foolish. You see, something that will not cost you, or something that you do and you'll be able to save so much, you say you won't do it. But we don't blame. It's human nature. It's part of our thinking to give money out without any reason. People will prefer to pay bribe to get something they want. Some will not pay the bribe. Why? It is a choice. He doesn't see why he should go and buy an extinguisher and put it in his car if he has the money to buy the car.
Really?
Yes. He sees that it's a waste of...
That's a serious one.
Yes, he sees that as a waste of money.
Especially if a whole year round he doesn't get to use the extinguisher. He has
put in mind that God is his provider.
God protects all of us, we must say. But there are things that God won't do for you.
The carelessness of you does not come from God telling you that this action is careless and therefore I don't support it. It is your choice of being careless that will lead you into that.
Carelessness is a choice.
Yes. You know the right thing, so you won't do it. Then when you sit down, like the same person, you begin to think that God is your provider. How is he going to do that?
At this point in time, I think that ignorance is also becoming a choice.
That is the issue.
Because we have fire safety messages flying everywhere.
Yes.
We come to your markets, we come to your houses. Yes. We come everywhere to come and teach you. And so if you still hear those messages, or you have refused to avail yourself for these messages for you to receive these messages, then it means that you have made a choice for your house to burn. And that one, nobody will be blamed. It's a choice that you have to make between safety and not being safe. So if you have chosen not to listen to fire safety, so please join us on Safety Matters every Tuesday, because that's what we bring to you. Deputy, let me remain with you. We say that fire prevention is almost free because it doesn't cost you anything. How about fire protection? It costs you something. This is how expensive.
You see, I'm sure, I don't know how to put it, but let me put it. In the days of Adam and Eve, when they were in the garden and everything was okay, they knew how to set their own food cooking and distance. What preventive measures of protection measures did they have in place? Maybe they could just walk here and pick some water from the deck side and come and put it out. So the environment was in such a way that everything was beautiful, serene. I have not been to paradise. I have not been to heaven, or I was not in the Garden of Eden with them. But God makes us understand that everything that He created was what? Was good. So they didn't have this challenge. Now we as humans have come to add. We have added electricity as the source of power to help us do so many things. We have changed. We need cars to be moving around. We need light. We need. Did He add those ones to us? It's out of necessity we have created all this, and they have increased our risk that is with us.
Because to whom much is given, much is expected.
So we have created a risk, so we must find a way to control it. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So it's expensive, but who brought it? We have brought that thing, so we need to, so we don't lose what we have.
But looking at
I'm clear with where you.
But I think that looking at this, I think that everybody would have his or her expenses relative to what you use. For instance, if I am in a simple house, like you have been trying to establish, and I don't use much gadgets, I will not need a lot of protective equipment to protect them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you are living in a fairly luxurious house, you also your cost for protection, those gadgets in your house should be a bit more minimal than somebody who lives in a very luxurious house, complex house. Is that not so?
It is true.
So it means that fairly everybody should have our type of risk and our cost to protect it, isn't it?
Yes. You see, that is why we always say that those who are okay, they will take insurance cover for their property. So you are shifting the responsibility onto. That is why in the government's own wisdom and all the states have established the fire service. The government would have said, I don't need fire service. In some countries, you not get planes plane will not land at the Ghana airport that we have without a crash rescue and fire service being there. No ship will land at the port if you didn't have the fire rescue and this thing. And most investors will not even put up factories in the country if you don't have the fire service existing in your country. I get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Even though he's creating but the government in his own wisdom and planning must say, I must have a fire service in my country to protect your property. So within the community, I can decide to have an extinguisher because when the person, my neighbor has a problem and is getting closer, I have an extinguisher. I have to go and support.
Yes.
So going beyond, and you don't have the money to do all these things, the best thing is to go for an insurance. That one too, you don't like it. You see how it is? So that you can shift the responsibility of cost of damage and other thing to somebody who will reinstate you to back the situation that you were.
Because we don't understand that we can have an insurance and maybe within a particular period of time, nothing happens and they are spending our money.
So if you think you cannot give the first cover of preventive or fire safety, shift that responsibility of losing your house or your property or business to an insurance company.
Okay. So would we classify that as fire protection as well?
Yes.
Kind of.
Kind of. Are you getting me? You have put in the extinguisher.
Yeah.
The fire came, maybe you were not in the house. The place is burnt.
Yeah.
You didn't go beyond thinking that. Now, who pays you? You have put a extinguisher there, all right, too. But your place is burnt. You put a sprinkler there, all right. But it has failed. So who pays you? I get me. Yes. So shift the responsibility. So move on. That's what I was giving you, the effect of what God gave us from the beginning. We have increased it. It is failing us and it's giving us more problems. So we have to find a way to. That's why it becomes necessity is the matter of what? Invention.
That's what they say.
So you need it.
I'm
you
not
can
supposed
shift it.
to ask questions, but with this, the insurance companies would also, before they even reinstate you there, will come to the fire. Exactly. So they will also come to the fire service
to see if you have been doing the
right
thing or it's out of your carelessness.
So yes. They will also ask for reports from the Ghana National Fire Service concerning our investigations and what may have caused the fire. They want to know if it was carelessness on your part because they are also a company. You understand? Yeah. And they would not like to pay those dividends themselves because they are in to make money.
Don't pay the claims.
So what they also do is to fall on the fire service. If it is a company, they will request for the fire certificate. If you've been renewing your fire certificates and other things. That is why the logbook my boss has always been talking. It's there. Those ones are logged in. They are booked. So they can equally check those ones and then come and verify. When was the last time you even serviced your extinguisher? Was your extinguisher, was it out of carelessness? Was it an ignorant act? Was it arson? Did you deliberately burn your entire building just to get something?
Something.
So these are questions that they will also be asking, and they will look out for all those things. So if you don't meet all those requirements, the criteria, then they will also refuse you
payment of.
And we don't understand.
Yes. You see, apart from this one, when he says that, okay, I want to help you, but because I will not be there 24/7, put fire extinguisher 1, all right, in your house. So instead of if you put a fire extinguisher in there, paying a premium of maybe 500 cedis. You say because you have the extinguisher, you have first aid to it, so you pay a premium of about 200. Or you decide to install a sprinkler in there, which you know is expensive. Then you say, instead of paying a premium of 200, you pay 50 cedis. So it helps you to reduce.
So in any case, that's another benefit of fire prevention and fire protection.
And that's why they're asking for. That's why we're doing the fire certificate, to be able to help you reduce premium and to tell you that you have enough cover, and the private man will come and do a renewal every year to make sure that your fire extinguisher and things are working. So you see how it is. It is not in totality 1 minute, but you do it and spread the cost so you can be safe, apart from the prevention that you do. So it's a shared responsibility.
Sir, kindly give us, by way of your conclusion, advise us on this thing so that we can wrap up for today.
As a matter of fact, what you're talking about, prevention is very, very good. But who does the prevention? The education. Who does that? Fire service. You know, we Ghanaians, by our culture, we don't like reading. Are you getting me? Somebody will have to. So the fire service have to champion the education and see the collaboration and the needed things that must be done. And then the kind of advantages of having good fire prevention and having a good fire cover in their various houses, ranging from saving their life and their property and having their properties being restored by going further to insurance companies to take care of. And then those who have fine cars should also go and get the fire extinguishers for the cars. And so in totality, you must hammer this education must continue to go.
Thank you.
But as I said earlier, it's cheaper to do the prevention.
Okay.
And it's costly. That means expensive when you go to protection. But it's necessary.
Very necessary.
You need to do it.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Walter, give us your concluding remarks.
Yeah, so I would say that an extinguisher saves life. Prevents
The health people will say an apple a day is something. So we are saying
exactly.
That's
an extinguisher saves lives. So have an extinguisher in your house, in your office, or wherever you find yourself, and you can always get closer to the nearest fire station around you if you need any assistance. There are a lot of fire safety people there who can
24/7.
24/7. They can help make sure that those undesired fires do not come to your respective houses. So that is what I'll say.
Very well. I want to thank you very much for coming on as well. I'm sure our viewers have benefited a great deal from both your submissions. We are grateful to you.
Thank you.
Now, our cherished viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on today's program. We have been discussing fire protection and fire prevention, and I'm sure by now you know the difference between the two. However, you know that the two work together for your good. The two work together for your good. And also, I'm sure you have learned on the show that for fire prevention, you have to be involved as a human being living in that particular establishment. You have to make sure that your actions and inactions are preventing the fires from happening. However, there are certain risks that your actions and inactions cannot prevent. It is for you to acquire a fire extinguisher, a sprinkler, an early warning detection system to be able to mitigate this risk. What they do for you is that when the fire starts, they cannot progress from a particular level, thereby making your environment and your establishment and your businesses very, very safe. We also got to know that you can't even go and hide under I have insurance, because the insurance companies will always make sure that you do the right thing. So there you have it. It has been Safety Matters on this channel. ADO1 Joan Eje, we bring you this program every Tuesday. Please watch the tree version of this program tomorrow. I want to say a big thank you to the production crew led by ADO1 Blaise Ankude and Eso Afejo and all your guys. I can't mention your names one by one, but I want to say a very big thank you to you. It has been Safety Matters. See you next week. Bye-bye.